Health meeting of November 3rd, 2025. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording this meeting, please notify the chairman. Pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29th, 2023, signing of the Acts of 2023, extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until June 30th, 2027, this meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling 1-508-945-4410, and the conference ID is 598-128-909#. Or they may join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Chatham TV, Channel 8 and 1072, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Now I'll turn the meeting over to our chairman, Dr. Noble Hanson.
Thank you. It shall be the policy of this board to conduct its meetings under the open meetings laws so as to encourage public participation whenever time permits and as part of agenda item discussions. We have 4 items on the agenda today, but first let's establish a quorum. And I'll call your name. Carol Boyce.
Here.
John Beckley.
Here.
Ron Broman.
Here.
Ron Weiser.
Here.
And our alternate, Joanne Kale.
Here.
And Noble Hanson here. So we have a quorum. And first on the agenda is an update regarding the McGrath 32 Mill Hill Road cleanup. And we have Greg Berman, Director of Natural Resources in Chatham, who's going to present the project to us.
And even show some pictures. There we go. So I'm calling this the project timeline, well aware that everyone in this room has far more history than I do with this property. This is only about the last 18 months, but wanted to at least cover the more recent efforts that we've gone through. So back in March of 2024, that was back when the state actually determined that the property was an illegal landfill. We got that in writing from the state. We then went and either reissued or renewed a variety of nuisance orders and violations across many of the departments in town. This was then collated with town council and put together a pre-litigation demand, which was not followed. So at that point, the property owner was taken to court. A preliminary injunction occurred back in November, a final judgment in February. At this point, town council was working with the property owner, trying to find out what the best course of action could be if the property owner was actually going to clean up on their own, which did not seem like the case. So the town proceeded to do a request for proposals in order to clean up the site. The funding for this, I think I have it in the memo, was an allocation at town meeting for, I believe it was nuisance remediation. So this funding was put forth for the RFP. We had, I believe, 6 different contractors show up to the site visit over the summer, and we did have 1 apply, and honestly, I think they did an absolutely great job. I'll show you some pictures in a little bit. So we finally got the contract up and running around middle of September. The cleanup was 5 days, 5 business days. Long days. They had between 5 and 6 people and a variety of equipment being used. Now that the cleanup is complete, the last step is to take the invoices, and we'll be recording them as a lien against the property so the town isn't out the money. So as I said, he had Eagle Eye Contracting had between 5 and 6. The term was labor on site. They had a skid steer. They had an articulated kind of small excavator. They also had an ATV and trailer that they would take all through the site. Their first step The first day was to clear enough area off of the road to be able to place the dumpster not on the road anymore. We needed the one day on the road in order to clear a spot for that dumpster. After that happened, the police detail was able to focus more on controlling traffic versus what was going on kind of around the dumpsters. That is a fairly busy road, a lot of large vehicles going down there besides the one used for this project. Here's one of the days on site. You can see a lot of activity happening. Kind of the key points are over there on the left. This was about 160 cubic yards of debris were removed, over 3 tons of tires, and the tires are actually treated as hazardous materials. So that and the propane tanks and the gas tanks actually added to the project costs. But there was some savings to the project by recycling a lot of the metal material found on site.
How many tires equals 3 tons?
Ballpark, I don't have the 220.
Okay, thank you.
It was a lot of tires. They just kept bringing them from other parts of the property. So here's a couple of before and after shots. This is right by the road. And you won't be able to see from this particular shot, but the property owner now has a full driveway going down. There was actually steps uncovered during that process. So a lot of this material over on the left is the example of metal scrap and salvage that was used to be recycled. Here's another shot a little bit lower down on the property. And you can't really see the house over on the left, but that is the same location. I'm going to walk over and just point to it. Right there. It's right there. So the house has been excavated. There is still I believe it's called a shed. He's over on the left there that has a tarp. So that wasn't part of this project. And basically, by any judge, this is, in my opinion, has been an overwhelming success. Eli Contracting did an absolutely wonderful job. And at the end of the day, I don't think anybody could call it an illegal landfill anymore. The location along the wetland area that the Conservation Commission had concerns with, that area was cleaned up as well, and erosion control put in place just to make sure that it wouldn't affect runoff in the area. So this is just a quick update. We did talk to the property owner. We have some assurances, verbal assurances that, this was a one and done project. The property owner does not expect this to kind of dumping to occur again. And we did reiterate that, the final judgment is an in perpetuity judgment. So we do have that in place. If this property were to see the kinds of violations it had in the past, we could just do the same thing again as needed. But we have high hopes. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to cover.
Questions? Ron?
How's the shape of the house that he lives in?
So we did not enter the house, and we did not look inside the house. That was kind of outside the purview of any of the violations. In addition to that, the final judgment provided by the court did not, permit access or put a requirement to do that. So at this point, we're unaware of what's going on inside the house.
Outside looks all right.
I mean, I want to say at least 99% has been cleaned up. There's a couple of things scattered about, but I mean, this is, but in no means an illegal landfill anymore.
Okay.
Joanne?
At one point, it was mentioned that people would go by and just throw their tires or junk on there. Is there any assurance that they won't continue to do that?
Well, I mean, there's certainly no assurance. I did talk to the property owner and offered, potentially we could put up signs if he sees this being an issue again. But I think he has a vested interest in not allowing it to occur again because, this didn't cost him money immediately, but this is a lien on the property. Sure.
There is also the psychological aspect. It's easier for people to throw debris on top of existing rubbish. It's harder to throw debris
On a clean.
on a clear area. So there may be some psychological benefits of having it restored now to, in a much better state.
But one of the things was he was running, it looked like, a scrap metal, sort of a business there, and he had people that would regularly dump their scrap metal. So, but he has assured you that he's going to stop doing that, from, as your understanding?
That's my understanding.
And then the other part of the whole project is maintenance. So, is maintenance covered in the, in the whole thing? And is there money left to cover the cost of maintenance if it's required down the road?
So the original town article was for $150,000. This particular effort came in at just over $50,000. So there is just under 100 left behind if we do need to go back in for this property or other properties that are deemed. And, you know, this was the big one. I'm hoping that if additional maintenance does need to occur, it'd be to a much lesser degree. And, you know, the whole RFP process is not quick, but for smaller cleanups, you know, we could still go through state procurement, but you might not have to do a full RFP if it's for a lesser value.
And then can you initiate a maintenance cleanup at your own discretion, based on what you see, or what would the process be there?
So it would probably be brought forward to the Board of Health at some point to determine that there is additional health dangers and impacts. At that point, I would probably get in touch with our town council again, and we would start the letter process, and, you know, hopefully it won't take 18 months like it did last time, but, you know, we got there.
Yeah. But it is remarkable that he now has a driveway down to the front door of his house, and actually his truck is parked on that road down. So that's a big change for him. Other questions from the board? Any questions from the public? Carol? You can come up to a mic there, yeah. So Carol has previously been a member of the Board of Health, so she's familiar with this project.
Thank you very much. Yes, Carol Gordon, South Chatham. But I want to commend the board for their follow-through and their attention to this matter, and certainly a lot of work has been done. I did go by today before the meeting, and I was just wondering, there's still quite a bit of stuff there. I mean, you may have seen it too. There's still a lot of metal hazardous material that's rusting, like up on the hill. There's a bathtub, there's a rusted boat down by the street, and a lot of this is still leaching into the soil. And I was just wondering, I heard you say that there may be another cleanup with some other items, like up on the hill, there's a lot of, like I say, metal rusted and things like this, and it might just need a little bit more attention. And I was also wondering about the soil samples that we're going to be taking.
Yeah.
So, let's see, at this point, there is no additional work planned on the site. I did see the bathtub, you know, one of the things discussed is the property owner considers themselves a bit of an artist and wants to have some kind of flower bed or art structure with a bathtub. It was not, it was not the largest issue on the property by any stretch.
No, I totally understand. You did a fabulous job, and, you know, there's still more. And if we have the money and the funds allotted, maybe another pass through might help.
Oh, we can take a look, especially if more things get added to the site.
Okay. Right.
But, you know, right now, you know, Judy and myself and other town departments went out to assess whether the majority of the violation has been cleared up.
Okay, good, okay.
So it was our thought, and, you know, I'll certainly let Judy weigh in for herself too, but the major health, conservation, various threats involved seem to be okay at this point. And with regard to soil samples, you know, there was a lot of concern that if we uncovered something, you know, work was gonna stop, we have to look at hazardous materials.
Yes.
There really wasn't any smoking guns around there for what may have leached into soil, so samples weren't taken.
Okay, I was just wondering about the hazardous material and going into the soil, which there was hazardous material and a lot of rust and things like this. So you wouldn't take soil samples for that?
Well, I'd let our
don't
health
know.
agent talk about, you know, potential rust. I mean, certainly, almost all of the hazardous material was tires, but again, this might be something for Judy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't know what we were gonna uncover when we went out there. And the hazardous materials that we did see were tires and some, propane tanks and
Right.
fuel, containers. And those were all removed. There were no signs of any spillage. They did not have to dig into the earth at all to remove anything. Everything was just on top. So, I felt like after I walked through the site with Greg and the contractors, that they had removed anything that was considered a public health nuisance or a danger.
Okay, great,
So-
okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think he has another business with kayaks and boats, so some of that is probably there reasonably. To me, the thing would be if he apparently starts up his scrap metal recycling kind of business again, which was a major part of the junk up front, and that would be probably pretty obvious. That would be something.
And that was one thing I forgot to address, Carol's question. The boats, vehicles, trailers, anything that's registered through the RMV or those kinds of things, those did stay on the property. So certainly the kayaks are a lot more organized now, things were stacked and cleaned and that sort of thing. But, you know, kayaks used for the business, boats that may be registered, trailers that may or may not have plates, that was kind of outside the realm of the overall cleanup.
Yeah, and his truck is now off the street, it's on the new driveway.
Yep, no, he did seem intrigued by the idea of having a driveway again.
He seemed pleased.
Well, I
with
drove
that.
by there earlier in the midst of it, and he appeared to be actually helping the workmen there sorting things out, so he was apparently cooperating pretty well.
Yeah, no, it worked very well. I think the property owner kind of came around as the project went on, and again, can't say enough about, you know, Eagle Eye Contracting really worked with him, and I think there was, you know, some joining in, collaboration, and, you know, that they helped him, and I think he appreciated that. You know, at the end of the day, the project got done, and I believe, you know, as I walked away, I think all parties were pleased with the outcome.
Ron, did you have a question?
Yeah, would it be worthwhile to put in a hard date for going back to reevaluate?
Greg, I guess would be, what do you think? What would be your plan to
I mean, as
monitor what's going on there?
as opposed to just waiting for a problem to resurface,
I think,
then it dribbles to the Board of Health, then the Board of Health takes.
I think,
it up.
Ron, you've raised a real good issue.
I just think the neighbors, I'm putting myself in the position of a neighbor to the
Yeah.
fellow. I think the neighbors would feel some level of satisfaction knowing that we're staying on top of this, and that maybe at 4-month intervals for the next year, we'll go back and just make sure that everything is as it should be.
I concur with that. I also think it's important that we have a confirming dated videotape of a walkover that we can create in a way that's very clear, that we can compare to, you know, 6 months from now, another walkover, and we'll know immediately by comparing the two whether there's new material that's appeared. So I would think,
I think we have, Greg took quite a few photographs before and after, so we have a good, you know,
You have a good base of what it.
base of
Okay.
photos from every angle.
And it does seem like most of the debris and any additional dumping would be fairly close to the road, which would be public access that we could walk and survey at
Okay.
that point. I do think we'll probably hear from concerned neighbors if this does start up again, but, you know, it is our plan to take a look at least a couple of times over the upcoming year.
So would you say taking another look in 6 months with a report back to the board or somehow noting what's
We
going
could put
on?
something on the agenda for 6 months. I mean, that's, you know, as we drive by, we'll have our eyes open, but, you know, at least 6 months.
Documented, yeah.
Okay, good. Other questions from the board? Other questions from the public? Somebody online?
I think the courts would also welcome a formalized periodic review, too. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in.
Right, and then it would just be that Greg has enough photographs that he documenting the condition that when he goes back and there's more material, he can show it.
Yep.
But he knows that, I think.
Right, yeah, I mean, we would need to document that and then bring that to town council. Town council would probably draft another demand letter. If that gets ignored, we would go through
Right.
the procurement process again.
Okay. I guess we're over. That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's
Thank you,
good.
thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you. Okay, next is variance hearing and approval of addition bedroom without IA technology for 14 Pondview LLC, 14 Pondview Lane, Clark Engineering. Involved in, David Clark is here to present the case.
Good afternoon. David Clark of Clark Engineering, on behalf of the applicant. So, this house got started last year with the anticipation that sewer would be available soon. It turns out the town is still working on the pump station that's down the end of Kelly Lane, which is critical in getting this section of Chatham operational. That won't occur till the end of next year, I believe. So the house got underway as a three-bedroom house with the anticipation of when it gets connected to the sewer, it would be then entitled to the fourth bedroom. And thinking that sewer was sooner than later, the house has progressed to the point that it'll be done early next year and will not be able to be occupied because sewer's not available. So the option, well, the only resolution is to put an on-site system in.
Sorry, say that again?
The only resolution to get the house occupied once it's done is to put an on-site sewage disposal system in. And because the house is being finished as a four-bedroom house, we would have to come before the board and put in a four-bedroom system with IA technology. So what we're asking is that we put in a four-bedroom system without the IA technology, because within 12 to 18 months of the house being occupied, it's going to get connected to the sewer system. So that's what we're asking for, the variance for the extra bedroom without providing IA technology.
Right.
And I can just
Yeah.
add that our regulations say if there is an IA technology in there, they would have 10 years to use it before they would be required to connect to sewer. So it's kind of, you know, I mean, I'm sure they would rather be connected to sewer than to put the IA in and have that for any length of time.
But you're stipulating that the interim septic system would be sized for the full four bedrooms?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I would ask Judy, is the sewer down the street is going to be available when, do you think?
My understanding is that the pump station should be completed next spring. That's what Tom at the sewer department told me. And then it'll probably be 6 months or so before they get permission to actually use the system and can start connecting people. the stubs are all, the sewer's in the road and the stubs are there. So
Okay.
that's my understanding.
And then as soon as the sewer is down the road and it's available for hookup, then the property owners have to hook up within,
Well, then we would be ordering connections, but they don't have to wait for us to order them to connect. If it's ready to connect, then anybody can go ahead and start the process.
but part of this agreement would be that the homeowner would connect
Right.
promptly or right away.
Yeah, we would condition it.
Is that in the
and,
conditions?
And I think I'm not sure, I think I said within 3 months.
No, I only got one page of it.
I only got one side.
That's all I got.
So,
Did you get,
and he's already has it all set up. David designed it so that the connection would be simple, the way the plumbing is set up, and
I don't know where the other page is.
David, a question, David. In a scenario like this, what would become of the newly installed septic system upon connection with the town sewer? What, do you take out things? Does it left,
We would leave it in place, just pump and fill it with sand.
and just what?
Pump.
Empty it.
All the, yep, pump all the components dry
And
and
then leave it in place?
fill it with sand,
Okay,
and then abandon it in place, basically.
okay.
And then the previous house had basically a cesspool,
It had cesspools, yes,
so they were filled,
yes,
and
Yeah.
so they were eliminated.
yeah. It would, like I said, this started off as a 3-bedroom project, and with the anticipation of putting in a 3-bedroom system, and then with sewer coming, it was changed to 4. So if we had known 2 years ago or whatever, when we got started on this, we probably would have taken a different route.
Right, so it's the 3-bedroom pre-existing house, which is now gone, that gets grandfathered into the new house. They're eligible for a 3-bedroom house. And then when it hooks up to sewer, they would be eligible for
one.
one extra bedroom.
Right.
And the sewer regulations come through sewer and water commissioners, I guess, right? Not us,
yes,
but
it's a sewer.
that's in
it's
their
a water and sewer.
regulations.
Yeah.
And this is, we have done this for other properties in town.
Okay.
Right.
A few times over
Okay.
the last probably 10 years.
So basically, we're giving them maybe a year in advance the extra bedroom that they would get when they hook up to sewer. But we're letting them do it now. That's, but it seems pretty well put together. Any other questions from the board, Ron?
Yeah, do we have anybody that can assure us approximately when the sewer will be ready?
No.
What Judy?
Well, again, I talked to Tom and Rob at the sewer department, and they did say that they plan to have the pump station completed this spring.
Okay,
So
that's,
then it's a matter
That's a
of
big
getting
piece.
that inspected and the as-built and all of that so that they can, DEP will approve it for connections.
so there's no date that they could set on that?
No, I mean,
It depends
no
on the
exact
state.
Yeah.
You know, pump stations usually take a little longer to get state okay, because it has to go through testing and operational, making all the
Okay.
bells and whistles work. I mean, the pump stations down in South Chatham, I still don't think are signed off by the state. The one at 137 and 28 and the other one on Morton Road. But they might be. They're getting closer, I know that. So we did just receive last week all the as-built tie cards for where all the sewer stubs are out on the road, and we are working on sewer connection plans and anticipating filing those as soon as the town says go ahead. Some of them, we've been under contract for 6 years.
Really?
Yep, well, one property on Pondview Avenue, contract with us over 6 years ago. Wow. To connect to the sewer because the town was proceeding with, but then this Pondview Lane got put on the back burner because of the pump station, and tying in that large condo colony on the pond there, that's to the east of this. Yeah, so a lot of people were anticipating getting hooked into sewer.
And I
6
would
years.
expect the cost would have gone up over 6
Yeah,
years
unfortunately.
also.
Yeah, unfortunately, gone up considerably. Yeah, because all those prices were pre-COVID, and things were a lot more expensive now.
So one of the conditions is that the applicant shall connect to the sewer system within 90 days' notice of this, when the sewer is available. Is the property owners okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Questions from the board, or any questions from the public or online?
I'll make a motion, we approve the application.
Okay, and then a second?
I'll second.
And then Judy can read the conditions.
So there's 4 conditions. The applicant shall deed restrict the property to a maximum of 4 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at Barnstable County. The applicant shall submit a copy of the executed deed restriction to the board. The applicant shall should connect the dwelling to the sewer within 90 days of notice that the sewer is available for connection. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan, and no alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling will be allowed without further review by the Board of Health or its agent.
Okay, and then we'll take a vote. All in favor, say yes when I call your name. Carol Boyce,
Yes.
John Beckley,
Yes?
Ron Broman,
Yes.
Ron Weiser,
Yes.
Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, so that
Thank you very
variance is
much.
granted.
Thank you, David. All right,
Okay.
moving right along.
Next on the agenda is violation of short-term rental non-registration for Teresa Wall, 322 Old Harbor Road. And I believe this was continued from a prior meeting.
Yes.
But we have Karen Shimwaza is here, who has been dealing with this, and she's going to present what has happened here and where we are.
Yeah. So at the time of the last meeting, the certified mail had been forwarded to another address, but had not been received by the recipient. The letter will be returning to us, but I've since cold emailed her at her work address, and she did respond from her personal, saying she was the owner. I think I provided you with a copy of that email. I again reminded her on Friday and sent a link to this meeting, so she has not yet registered her rental property, which has been rented for the past 2 years.
Karen has
So she-
Karen has done some great detective work on this one.
Right, so the owner lives in Duxbury?
Yes.
Okay, and then you spoke to her on the phone?
I did not speak to her on the phone. I've emailed.
You've emailed her, and she
Yeah.
emailed you back?
Correct.
And so she you communicated to her,
She did not respond back after my second email.
so in the second email, you sent her all the information about the status of what's going on?
Correct. Including copies of previous letters and the order to appear.
Right. At the previous meeting, was she ordered to appear at the Board of Health?
She was in the first October meeting.
And she did not, come?
Right, she hadn't received the letter,
Oh, she hadn't received the
the
letter?
order letter, so,
Allegedly.
I mean, she didn't receive the certified copy. The regular mail has not come back.
Yeah.
And then, now, you've looked, it is currently listed for, as a rental?
It was as of Friday. I didn't check this morning, and it's had reviews from 2025. And there's availability, or there was on Friday, so for the rest of the year.
Okay, and then the last time you communicated, when you sent the material to her and she didn't reply to you, how long ago was that?
Friday, I sent her the link to this meeting
So just,
with a reminder just saying she hadn't registered yet, and if she wanted to, we could waive the requirement to appear.
is there any indication as to why she wouldn't comply? I mean, the short-term rental regulation that we put in place is pretty simple. It's a $50 fee. And the compliance has been pretty good.
Was the owner of this property aware that this board was meeting today?
I mean, I sent her the link,
You got a link, yeah.
yeah, saying
Okay.
this is the meeting. I had, how did I phrase it in the first email? I think I said, one of the letters was in order to appear at the Board of Health meeting on 10/6. And then the next sentence is, the board did continue the hearing until 11/3. And then I sent her a reminder about this meeting with
Okay.
the remote.
That means she
meeting.
was she's supposed to appear today, or,
Yeah.
okay, we can ask is there anybody online, or is Teresa Wall online to respond or have a comment?
No, there's no one
Okay,
online.
all right,
You did
comments
send-
from the board,
You did send her
Ron?
the link
A lot.
to
Yeah.
register, yeah.
Is there any idea, this has been going on a year and a half. Do you have any idea why she never responded to any of the earlier letters? Were they going to the wrong
Ignored them.
address or something?
In the email response, she said she had moved a few times in the last 2 years and gave me an updated address in Duxbury and said she hadn't received any.
Oh, she's claiming she was
Notice.
at a different address than the original letters were going.
Okay, well, I'm looking at the email that you sent on Thursday. I think if any one of us would have gotten an email like this, we would have responded within about 5 minutes. So I just don't understand why somebody wouldn't respond almost immediately to a notice like this.
I think we need to get her attention through a violation, a filing of violations with penalties,
With what?
with penalties, a
Penalties.
penalty
And we
assessment.
have done that already, for what, 3 properties, I think?
Yes, yep.
And
But she has not been cited in any such,
No.
I think it's probably time to.
you now have her email address.
I have her email, an
Right.
updated contact.
So I think last time we did that, and then we specified the penalty, what it was, so much per day, and when it was to begin. It was, I think it was the day after our meeting last time, and that would begin then. So what
how
do
much
members
is she
think?
up to now?
No,
We
has
haven't
not been
started.
We haven't done it yet, 'cause we would be making that determination today,
Oh, okay.
setting a starting date, which would probably be tomorrow, and the fee was, how much was it? It was 100 or 200 a day?
$200 per day.
$200 a day is what is in our regulation.
Well,
And do we have to do anything other formal to start that, or just vote to
Let's vote.
begin it?
I'd make a motion that we commence the daily penalty action, however you want to do it, whether you want to batch them or do, one a day, or one on Friday, do like for 5, I mean, any way you want, but I think it's past time that,
At $200 a day,
200.
beginning tomorrow, the day after we vote.
Yes.
And then we can take a motion to begin the action and take a vote, so it's,
I will move exactly that.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other comments from the public or anybody online? Anything else that we need to know about? Okay. And, all right, so if you agree with the motion, when I call your name, please respond. Carol Boyce,
Yes.
John Beckley,
Yes?
Ron Broman,
Yes,
Ron Weiser,
Yes.
and Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, so we will start that tomorrow. And last time, I think we had a pretty prompt response from people, once that was started.
that amount of money, yeah.
There has to be
Even
a
the
more,
person that worked for the town.
there has to be a more
Yeah.
efficient way in the future. I mean, this was a lot of work. And it shouldn't be that hard to, and I think we also need an interpretation. When you mail a letter and it does not come back, it used to be years ago when I was doing public health, that there was a presumption of delivery. And you didn't need to, necessarily keep sending and sending. And because some defendants, some people can become very evasive when they want to, and they can pretend they never saw things when in fact they're very aware. And it's a game of cat and mouse. And I just think we ought to find a way for Karen to be able to effect legal notice in a simpler way than
Yeah.
doing it over and over and over again.
Well, I think part of the problem is if you don't get a response, it's hard to know whether they actually received the letter. And I don't know the legal status of that, but,
You need to get somebody to serve
We
it.
did, after the first round, Karen started posting them on the dwelling, and that seemed to speed it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good move, right?
Yeah. And I think that there is the presumption that if the letter doesn't come back, that it is been delivered. But it's been taking a lot longer for things to come back. I've had things come back after about 6 months.
Really?
right.
But also, I don't think we'd give as many letters, right now as we did, like, in the first year.
Okay.
So it's kind of a new program. There were a lot of letters in the, like, May, June, July 2024, to kind of get more buy-in. Right now, we have most of the market registered, so it's a little more targeted. We can probably follow up a little bit more quicker and do more research into the actual property owners and
And then
reach
I
out
think
other
your
ways.
note said that the initial address you had from the town records she claimed was not her current address.
Right, and I did double check it before I sent the certified, and she still had that as her official
Right.
address of record. She is still listed as the owner on that property through the Boston assessing. So, I mean, we can make the assumption that.
So Karen is doing a lot of work, and I think, my opinion is we're sort of bending over backwards. We're starting up, give people the benefit of the doubt, try and investigate, and really make sure when you feel certain that, this person is really not being reasonable or evading, then we move ahead. And I think that's what we've been doing. Ron?
Can she be served by someone? I mean, there are people that do that serve them, and they'll track them down.
Yes, you can
What does it cost?
essentially pay for,
What does it cost to have somebody serve something?
I do not know, and
Yeah, it's,
I think as a town,
I've done it a few times. I don't know, I never saw the bills, actually. I think it's like $150 or something.
Because we have some retarees here that.
That's
We
serve
do
it.
have a
I'm
local
joking.
person who will serve, but
it
we
was.
don't know
But I
where the
think that-
person is. It's kind of hard to,
the town assesses fees without serving everybody that they wind up doing that to.
we don't need to serve them. We can just post it on the house and then, if they don't
A
respond.
judge
Yeah.
should clear that for us, a posting and an absence of return.
Yeah, and certified. So we send it
Cover
certified,
three
regular mail,
ways, you
and
should be
posted.
fine
Yeah.
in terms of winning a court.
So we know that's
Yeah.
legal? and-
So per kind of our
Input.
town council and in the general emails, sending it certified is enough notification. So as long as we're sending something certified to their legal address of record, that is considered good enough
It is.
for notice.
It is.
Even if it just,
Yep,
is-
okay.
even if it's returned, because we've attempted to do
Okay,
it at their preferred contact
stated,
point.
yeah.
The water department has been sending out hundreds and hundreds of these.
I was just gonna say, I mean, that's
And
where
they've-
our tax assessment is
They've worked
going.
out a system, and I think a way to make it easier with some form letters, and so we'll probably, talk to them a little more about how they
Go
do
to
it.
school on what they've, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And I would say it's the property owner's responsibility to make sure the address with the town is their correct
current.
address. So that's their responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay,
You'd think.
other questions or comments? Anything from the public?
Nope, nothing.
And,
It just boggles my mind.
okay, so do we vote to move ahead with this?
You did.
Okay.
I think we're all set, yeah.
All right, so we're all set there.
Right?
Good job, Karen.
Yeah, good, hard work. You're doing great. And what's the total number registered now?
I am not 100% sure.
Is it over 1,000? Over 900?
It goes back and forth. So we had about 900 for 2024. We're probably around the same amount with, some people stopping renting, some starting. So I would say between 900 and 1,000.
Okay.
This is the last of the properties that we identified as non-compliant.
Okay,
That's,
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Great work.
thank you.
Thanks. Take it off.
All right, fourth, or last on the agenda is a review of the final draft regarding our bedroom definition regulation, and we've discussed this several times. Judy sent out a current copy with red highlighting the changes, which I think pretty much complies with what we talked about at our last meeting.
Yeah,
And
want me to-
what we do is we would sort of, Judy can do it, but we would okay this today, and then Judy would set up a public hearing when it would come up again, and we would make it an official regulation. But Judy, go ahead and,
so I reviewed our notes from the last time, and then I also had Karen and Andy Grover, our new inspector, read it with a fresh set of eyes. Andy had some good comments, too. I added this definition of a loft, because it seemed like we refer to a loft, but we didn't have a definition of it. So I added that, which is an elevated area inside a home that is accessible via a flight of stairs, has railings, but does not feature 4 standard walls, plaster walls. I don't know if I need the word plaster there. Lofts overlook a main living area such as a living room or kitchen and function as an additional room within a home that can be used for relaxation and working. So again, it's a room that is open to below, basically. I took out the other rooms because I didn't feel that definition was helpful at that point.
right,
And
but
then-
this comment on the loft is the definition for something that's a room, not a bedroom, it's a room.
It's,
Loft, when loft
well, when
is
we got
considered a
down
room.
to room count, that's when we
That's a
refer
separate-
to loft.
yeah.
And then I do say, a typical bedroom classifications, which we included lofts with full bathrooms. So I think that would be one of those rooms that we've been discussing that has a full bath. I don't know if that's kind of hypocritical, like we're going both ways with that, but I think that's always been a concern. We have these extra spaces with full bathrooms in them. So I added that. And then when you go down to the whole room count,
Does it have to be full bathroom? A loft with a bathroom? Is it that enough to qualify?
I think I was leaning towards an ensuite bathroom, which is really typical what you'd see in a bedroom, which is a bathroom, a shower.
If you had a loft with a toilet and a sink, wouldn't
Half
that
bath.
be enough? Be enough to me to call it a bedroom?
I had the same thought.
Yeah, because we cut back it last time to just be basically a toilet. You didn't need a shower to,
Right.
So I could
I
take
would,
full
I
out.
just removed the word full, I think.
Okay, yeah, I went back and forth with that.
let me ask you, Judy, just about, so under bedroom, one of the criteria is it has a door opening of less than 72 inches. And then we have the loft with a bathroom. So a loft has a door, but it's open, but that's where you're wondering if that's compatible or not, or is that incompatible? Does that make sense?
Well, right, because,
That, the loft can be a room.
I mean,
This is bedroom, though. Lofts with full, loft with full bathroom is considered a bedroom.
or with a bathroom at all would be considered a
yeah.
bedroom. Generally, a loft wouldn't be considered a bedroom,
Right.
and that's why I have the
So, a
definition of
loft is a
of a
room.
loft there.
But if the loft has in addition a toilet, half bathroom or whatever, half a toilet, then we would consider it a bedroom.
I think so.
I
That's
would
what
go
we're
with,
saying here.
I think so.
Does
I
that
think-
sound,
I would do that too.
okay?
Okay.
And that-
Count it as a
And is
bedroom.
that clear from, yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, and so then you get down to the whole room, the whole house room count, which is another way to count the number of bedrooms. I added, total rooms include bedrooms, living rooms, kitchen, dining rooms, family rooms, offices, and rooms with distinctive physical borders and/or a distinct domestic function. And I took out a room has distinctive physical borders and/or or a distinctive, I just made that one word. So I think that helps with that idea of having a big open space with a living room, dining room, possibly a kitchen. So you could count that as 3 rooms. Instead of counting a living room, dining room as 1 room, you would count it as 3 rooms.
Well, that comes under your next paragraph on, in open concept design.
Yeah, right.
That further explains.
Has
what
a
you're
small
talking about.
dividing wall, yeah, so I didn't change that, I left that in there.
Right.
Some of this,
So if the great room has a small dividing wall, half wall, pillars, built-in cabinetry, or other architectural features that protrude into the space or obstructs normal movement within the space and produces a defined visual demarcation shall be considered for Title V purposes as separate rooms. So a great room could technically then be considered 3 rooms if it has that sort of thing, and that's up to our judgment. I mean, there's a.
right.
Yep.
And then a loft accessed by a stairwell. This sentence didn't make sense to me when I was reading it. A loft accessed by a stairwell or a spiral staircase is a separate room regardless of its openness to the room below, unless the loft is only accessible through a bedroom.
And doesn't that is that redundant to the loft under, that you have
Well,
up
this
in
is,
the first
I
page?
think this is for the whole room count, so
Okay,
I think it's saying you'd still count it as a room.
yeah.
But if it's inside a bedroom, we're saying we wouldn't necessarily count it. I don't know if that needs to be there or not.
accessible through a
Is that
bedroom.
confusing things, or? It's still a
A loft
room.
is a room
Some of this came right from Duxbury, so,
only accessible through a bedroom. Well, if you have a room accessible through a bedroom, that's 2 rooms then, isn't it? If has,
but occasionally you see a house that has a bedroom suite with a loft up top, and it's completely closed off from the rest of the house. You know, it's just, so that, I think that's probably what they're alluding to. It's pretty rare. So they wouldn't count it as a separate room if it was like that. I can strike that whole thing out of there if you think that's too.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
You know, I think,
I think to a
I
certain
think
extent,
it's
it's gonna
okay.
be our interpretation
Yeah.
and discretion on each one, where it's, well, it looks like this or doesn't to us,
Right.
walks like a
with
duck,
guidelines.
quacks like a, yeah, I think it's, I know it's wordy and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and it's out there in the exception, but I think I'd leave it in.
Yeah, part of it's what the intent of it is, as we see it.
This, under definitions, the second bullet point under bedroom, if 50% or more of its floor area is above grade. Karen gave me some good feedback right from the code on that, and I just didn't have a chance to put it in there. It's just gonna define that a little bit more clearly, so I will put that in and send that language to you as well.
Okay.
And
But
then,
it's not gonna change anything, it's just a more code.
in that section,
Friendly.
in that section, it also says one operable window with a minimum clearing 5.7 square feet. So a basement that has a typical case, the windows up high,
That does not count as a
like
bedroom.
the floor plan in the previous house had, then those aren't windows to make it a
No, they have to
room.
be, what's considered an
2 by 3
emergency
feet.
egress
It
window.
can't be a casement window, I guess you call it.
So I get people finishing basements all the time, and they just, they're building a rumpus room, basically, like we used to call them. They finish them off. They might have a bathroom in them, but that doesn't, it still can't be used as legally as a bedroom. And Karen does occasionally run into those when she goes into houses to do inspections, and they have to be told that this is not a legal sleeping area.
But they could
can't
be, they could be a room in a
It
basement.
can be a room, yeah.
Yeah. Do you need a building permit to finish off, a permit to finish off a basement?
You
Put
do.
in sheet rock and all?
People don't always get them, but
But you're
you find
supposed
them.
to, yes.
But, yeah.
Supposed to have it, yeah, okay. All right, and so, other questions or comments on this? Okay, so the process, Judy, just go through what we have to do.
So I did reach out to town council to have him review this and also let me know whether I need to add this or take it out of our other two regs that have definitions of bedrooms, and what's the best way to do that. He has not answered me yet. But I think we can go ahead with scheduling the public hearing. And I'm hoping for mid-December. By
Okay.
the time with the holidays and get it scheduled, then it'll probably be mid-December. And then at that point, we can decide what the effective date is. If it's clear cut and town council says this will, this will substitute for everything else that we've said about, bedroom definitions, then we can just move forward with this,
Yep.
so.
And then.
So that
and then-
process question will be straightened out by the time we have the
I hope
public
so,
hearing.
yeah, I
And
hope
either-
so.
Whether we have to strike what's there, or whether we just add this as a separate thing. And
Right.
But that can be done
It
after.
could just be
Maybe-
inserted by reference.
Right, I could say, or I could something here, say this, replaces all previous Board of Health, something like that. There may
Yep.
be some legal language I can add in, so.
Okay. Other questions or comments from the board? Questions or comments from the public or online?
I see none.
Okay.
Okay,
And
so
I
think we're looking
probably
good.
will need to also let the select board know about this. We don't want to get into the same thing that happened the last time we changed something significantly and, as far as bedroom numbers goes. So at some point, I will forward this to them and let them, if they want me to come in and speak to it, I can.
So you can forward,
And Jeff's not here, but Jeff Dykens has been coming to our meeting, so I'll make sure he sees it as well.
right, and they can, let us know.
Right.
And then how does the word get out to designers and architects and all that? Is that word of mouth, or they just have to be aware of changes?
I mean, it'll be printed in the paper, but I will also send it out to our local engineers and.
I would do that.
Yeah.
Just as a courtesy.
There's a group that's pretty commonly used.
An email group.
Yeah, I haven't got it set up, but the normal engineers that are around and designers, I can easily.
You ought to have that
sounds-
anyhow.
that sounds good.
Ought to have that ability anyhow.
Yeah,
And so you'll check with you send a letter to the select board, so we'll have a response or not by the time we have the public hearing?
yes.
Okay, great. Other questions, comments? All right, that sounds great. That's, I think, really good work that Judy put in there.
Yeah, no, thanks for your patience with working through this, 'cause
Well,
the more I read it, the more confused I
I
was
think
getting.
it's a lot firmer than what we had before, and there's a precedent for it
read
with
it-
that Hingham thing.
If you
Hingham
keep
is-
reading it, it just makes your hair hurt
Yeah,
at some point.
well, that's why I think it was helpful to have somebody else read it,
It just,
to have hair, but yeah.
I agree.
Okay, that's good. So.
All right, great, thank you.
Then we have public comments or future agenda items request. Anything?
I have a public comment that I'd like to put out to anybody listening. We are having a community opioid listening session not only in Chatham, but in Chatham, Orleans, Harwich, Brewster, and Dennis. This is it's opioid funds, the settlement funds that are coming into all the towns. They've been coming in since since 2021 or so. Well, I've been working with a coalition of towns, the towns I just mentioned, to discuss working regionally to blend our funds so that we can do stuff that's more long-term and not working in our own silos. And so we decided to go ahead and have these listening sessions The state really encourages regionalization with our funding and also getting people with lived and living experience. So we're trying to get people that have lived through opioid substance use, either their families or themselves. We want them to come to these sessions or attend online. They can go to any of the sessions. The one in Chatham is November 19th at the community center from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Again, it will also be on Zoom. And we have a facilitator. We hired a company to do this for us. I think it's going to be really good. I'm hoping we get some good impact. There's also a survey here. I can pull this up, but there's a QR code where you can go in and take the survey. Encourage everybody to do that. So again, we just want to know where people think they know about the money that's coming in. Chatham is getting over $900,000 over the next 14 years.
Really?
So, and for some reason Chatham is getting a lot more money than some of the other towns. I think it has to do with the ruralness of Chatham and the lack of healthcare facilities here. I think the way the formula was done with the feds, we seem to be getting a lot of money.
Is that indicative of a worse problem?
No, not necessarily, no. It really the formula, it's a little bit of a mystery to me, but I think it has to do with the number of providers here and the number of, basically providers.
What's going on with the incidence data on opioid?
I haven't looked at it, but we haven't had a lot of incidents that I know of.
That you're aware of?
Yeah, I mean, I'd
Would
have-
you know about them? Or could they be confidentially known?
I mean, I would hear, I think, through the grapevine, through our mental health staff that we have here. So we did have an incident about a year ago. So, but this is really just to, we want to see where the gaps are and what we can do and what people think we need to help support them in their journeys and what the towns can do. And I think the overall goal and what I'm hoping to do is that all of us, these 5 towns, will join together and form a formal opioid abatement coalition where our money will be officially joined together, and we'll have somebody who will oversee that and
Build an actual program.
build a program with all the funds together, or, maybe not all of them, or part of them. But we have a recovery coach here in Chatham who's here 1 day a week. Harwich also has that same person, and we have a 1 more year contract. It'd be nice to know that we can continue those programs and perhaps have these people available more often. We've been supporting the AIDS support group of Cape Cod, who's been supplying our Narcan boxes. I'd like to put more of that up. So what else have we done? We have BHI, which is Behavioral Health Institute, which is in our schools, working with our middle school and high school students who are at risk, keeping them from being expelled and working with them in
So
programming.
there is an outreach into the high school.
Yes, yes.
And then with the Narcan boxes, is the Narcan being taken? Are they, or do you have?
I haven't noticed that it has been, but
all still full?
AIDS support group comes around and fills them, so.
Somebody else
It's
fills
there for people right now.
Would you know if the Narcan was being taken or not?
I'd have to see that it was empty or that there was one missing. It's one right outside here. There's one outside at the Fish Pier. That's the only outside one. The rest of them are in town buildings. But the buildings are open during the day, and I encourage anybody who has any concerns about a family member to come by and take the Narcan.
So
Because
you
that's
don't-
what
you
it's
don't-
there for.
You don't know now whether the Narcan is being used from those Narcan stations.
I have no, no data on that. But
That
it
would be
is,
amazing.
it is there. It's not just for an emergency in the building. It's for people to come and take and keep it in their
Bring home,
car or
right. So that'd
keep
be
it in their,
interesting
in their
In terms of the
medicine
prevalence
cabinet.
of the problem, to how much of that is being used, might be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Questions or
It's
comments?
that's a harm reduction
We had
part of it.
had one
And
that's-
harm reduction, education, treatment, those are all things that they encourage us to promote with this opioid money. So again, that is November 19th from 6 to 7:30 in Chatham, and there are various other locations. That's whole week at different times of the day, and anybody can go to any of the sessions. You don't have to live in
Have
the
we
town.
ever considered doing a direct mail to every household in town, advising them of the program? What are the,
I haven't considered that, but I do get it, I'm trying to get it out. We have the weekly report, what's it called, the Breeze, not the Breeze, the
mail,
The-
newsletter, the mail, what's it called?
the main, yeah, the mainstay.
Main Street, Mainstay?
That goes out, and she promotes anything I send her.
Do we know how many?
A lot of people see that every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have reason to believe that that gets a lot of eyes on it?
I think so, yeah. And then we have our social media page. I've been sending it out to all the churches. All the schools have been aware of this. We're just really trying to get it
It
out
would just
there.
be nice if everybody in town had at least a level of awareness of this as a problem that is being worked on, and, not like a, 5-page thing, something that's focused.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, that's, part of this too is to see if people really know what's, that
well,
we're doing this,
that's,
so.
that's,
But we've talked about it in the past at Board of Health meetings, and there's going to be an article in the Chronicle this week. I was interviewed today. So we're trying to get the word out.
Okay, other agenda items requests? I think one real quick, brief thing would be just the transfer station follow-up on the letter that was sent out, whether we got feedback and whether Mr. Faley is logging the trucks indifferently. That could be like a 5-minute follow-up.
Yeah, we haven't started that yet, but I am going to follow up on
We can
that.
put it on the agenda for some
Yep.
time and
Yep.
see what we can find out. And then the other one was, we talked about, and I think it's a great idea, but would require some work to put together, would be some kind of an IA seminar where we learned more about the different systems and the costs and which ones work and which ones don't and how you test them and how good is the testing and all. That's a kind of an involved thing. But I think it would be really interesting because there's a consideration of whether we should narrow down our list of IA.
it's been long enough that I think most of us have forgotten what we learned the first time, so I would say,
I did,
a repeat
It would be a
presentation
question of who
updated.
presented it. I think
yeah,
you would know a lot.
I was actually at the IA Test Center last week with Andy. We had a tour there
Yeah.
with a
New
group.
employee.
It was,
Worked at
it was
Ryder Wilcox.
specifically about urine diversion, which hasn't been approved in Massachusetts yet, but short is that 90% of the nitrogen in your waste stream, it comes from the urine. So if you take that out of the waste stream, right off the bat, you've got a 90% reduction. So it was very interesting, but I also got a chance to see the test center, which I hadn't been to in many years. I really think it'd be great if we could arrange a field trip for you guys to see this, because it's pretty impressive. It's at Joint Base Cape Cod, and
Could we
Brian.
stop for ice cream?
It's a little bit of a haul from here. It'd probably take you about 45 minutes to an hour to get there.
Yeah.
It's basically in Sandwich, or right on the Sandwich-Mashpee line.
And it might be helpful to have one or two of the engineers come in and actually describe the systems and what they do and all that, the chemical part of it. And we had someone from the county, I think, before that dealt with one little aspect. But somebody that knows more about the different systems and the costs and why they do the fast system all the time, and is there something better? And then you brought up the question of testing and what it shows and doesn't show. But that, I think a future seminar would be great, and that might be a whole session, a whole meeting. Okay, other agenda item requests or comments, anything from the public? Okay, we have the minutes from October 20th.
I'll make a motion, we accept the draft minutes and revised minutes, right, of October 20th, 2025.
I'll second.
And then everyone in favor say aye. Carol Boyce? Aye. John Beckley?
Aye.
Ron Broman?
Aye.
Ron Weiser?
Aye.
Noble Hanson, aye. And then can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move?
And again, Carol Boyce?
Yes.
John Beckley?
Aye.
Ron Broman?
Yes.
Ron Weiser?
Yes.
Noble Hanson, yes. Okay, we are adjourned.